Sanam has joined, and I shall be introducing her. Lovely. Okay. All right, everyone. Thursday it is, so it's a day to reflect, think ahead, move forward, rethink, and re-engage. Thank you all. Episode 5. I'm, of course, as usual, super kicked. Just saw Arnav Goswami's Republic episode, so I'm more pumped up. As usual, I just want to thank again everyone for tuning in, taking out time on this Thursday at 10 p.m. And it's been such a nice last four episodes. Sharing stories, understanding people's perspective, knowing what they feel like doing, knowing what they want to be, what they want to achieve, their struggle, their hustle. And today's topic is somewhat a little different, little much in detail, more away from what I do in my subject, but something which is really important in our lives, which is, of course, the law. And a law is something, and hiring a lawyer is something where we always think twice to actually have them on board with us, have them a part of us in our company. And there's always a state of confusion. I won't use the word fear, but there's always a state of doubt. Whether are we hiring the right people? Are we actually being motivated by them? Will they help us? Cost plays a huge role. And a dear friend of mine did help me at a certain point of time in my life where I really needed some. As you all know, I own an advertising agency where I'm working with tons of different people, from team management to, of course, meeting a lot of clients. And we all are here to protect our own right, protect our own work, protect our own content. I face a similar situation, which we will, of course, discuss about. But today, I'm going to introduce you to Sanam Siddiqui, who is the proud owner, founder of Parisha Chambers, which she has started only with pure passion, with all heart. But her story is so special, is so intriguing. In fact, she was at my place for dinner. We were just having a few drinks, and the amount of zest of energy that woman has, the power and the abundance of love that she wants to share with her subject, she just made the whole subject of law so engaging, so much fun, that we just realized there's so much to talk to. And this is one subject I've been meaning to talk to and discuss this. So I'm just going to invite in Sanam, and she will take you guys through about law, decoding the law, and re-engaging the law in India. All right? Hey, Sanam. How are you?
All well, you tell me.
Thank you for joining in. And it was a lovely last evening, yesterday. So you all get up.
I'm telling you, yesterday for me was all about just seeing the little puppy. Oh my God, guys. Anubhav has like the cutest little dog, because of which I desperately want another one now.
I know, man. He's adorable. But honestly, totally. Thank you so much for coming in. And, this subject is something that you and me have been talking about for quite some time. A little over coffee, a few drinks here and there. And I come from a very different world, as you know, somewhere where I need to be protective with my work and, a little company that I own. But, of course, there's a part of you, of course, which is Sanam, the lawyer. And there's a part of you, which is Sanam, the person, the zest, the energy, and the abundance of information that you have. Which is amazing. And of course, what I was hearing, I was just awestruck just listening to you. And I think you have so much to share. And you have so much to give, So I will give this whole canvas to you today. Okay, but at reflect,
At reflect, I mean, that's why I love this, your idea, right? It's about reflection. Everything in life is about reflection. What is law? People make it out to be this, huge, scary thing, but it's not true. If you understand anything, it's easy. It's only that initial, hesitation in trying to understand the therein, wherein, herein, that most legal documents have.
Absolutely.
That I think is scary.
But in reflex, in my last 4 episodes, I've always asked this one question, and I want to shoot it out to you, and then I want you to tell everybody about your journey. and how this stint of lawyer and being or interested in law came up. So Sanam, who are you today? Who were you yesterday? And what are you in the future? Go for it.
So today I am someone who is walking. Yesterday I was somebody that was crawling. And in the future I'll be somebody that's running. So, if you know, this is a Rumi's poem. It's a very old one, but I think very apt. And of course, it's been used over and over again by everybody that if you can't walk, you crawl. You can't run, you walk. But you keep going, you keep moving forward. And that is what I have seen. And I think that's who I am. I am the kind of person who will keep on going forward no matter what. Like you've heard by now, my life has changed multiple times. I've changed industries, gone from manufacturing to law.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, the only way.
That's a special change altogether, and I want you to tell everyone your journey, because I think before we come to the main subject, I want you to tell like how it started and how resilience and perseverance, what led you to take up your passion job.
Okay, so I was telling you this. So I believe my journey started because of water. I think water is what completely changed my life. I was telling you, I'll tell everybody else as well. So I believe that water has memory. Of course, I think most people who have done any kind of spiritual, whatever, whether it's Reiki, whatever it is, they'll know that there is something special about water. But this one guy, a Japanese scientist, he decided that he needs to investigate it further. He flash froze water at minus 21 degrees Celsius, and what he found was astonishing, absolutely, mind-boggling.
Yeah.
When he heard, when the water heard Heartbreak Hotel, the water was in the shape of a broken heart. When he chanted to the water a prayer, the water was the most beautiful, shape that you can imagine. And when he said hate to it, it became horrible. So I was going through a really tough time in my life, with exports and stuff. And yeah, this was a few years ago. And I realized that, everyone goes through difficult times. I can either give in or rise above it. How do you rise above it? See, it's easy to say today, but at that time with, losses mounting in like crores or whatever, it's difficult to think about how do you go forward. Right. But then I decided it's not up to me. I will do what I can. The rest is up to God. So I just wrote on all the water bottles in my house, all the positive things you could think of, gratitude and so on and so forth. And the next thing I know, my brother was getting married. His father-in-law decided, he looks at me and he's like, the first time he meets me, he's just like, you need to be a lawyer. And I was like, I've been working with my dad since I was 14, but all right, I'll think about it. And he was just like, no, really. So then my parents said, you know what, think about it. He's not saying it for no reason. There must be a reason to why he's saying this. So I thought, okay. The next time I meet him, I thought, okay, you know what, I'll study. So tell me, how do I go about studying law? He was just like, no. Either join me, or he's like, people either hate law or they love law. Which one are you? I always thought I was a kind of love law because I've loved reading my whole life. I like law. And law is, I think it's logical, right? Most of all, it's, I think, most importantly about law, it's somehow logical.
I've been
so then I
by Suits, the show. I know it's a very lame answer, but that was my first introduction. Like, whoa, man, this space. But of course, after hearing your story,
but actually, it's true. So when I was working with my boss, we used to work in London as well in Blackstone Chambers. And I used to feel like I'm living inside Suits. I send my mom these videos going like, does it seem like I'm in a movie or not? Because, their life, their lawyer work is very like Suits. So for example, so we had this one conference. We needed lots of water glasses. We went to the pantry. We could find champagne flutes. We could find, we could find whiskey glasses. We even found wine glasses. No water glasses. So clearly these guys are partying it up, in... at least in London, as far as I know.
That's true. But which is the most intriguing part is your transition of becoming a lawyer. When I met you, of course, I've recently met you and known you, and I was introduced to Sanam as this lawyer, and of course, abundance of information. But yesterday I got to know your backstory. Your love and passion for being an entrepreneur, taking that step with your father when you were 14. And then that calling that came when you met someone. So could you just share some light on that, please?
Okay, yeah, like I was telling you. So there this person was actually, he's my mentor, my idol, somebody who's changed my life. I mean, I honestly owe where I am in life to him. You know, when you asked where I was yesterday, if you'd asked me that before I met him, I would have said lost. That's all I was. I was just very lost. Like, how do I go forward? And here comes this guy, literally like dropped down, literally like God's gift. And he told me to join him. I joined him for 2 weeks. And the first day I got out of the court, I saw him argue. I called up my mom and I said, listen, tell dad I'm resigning, because that is who I want to be when I grow up, you know, because he was powerful and amazing. And I mean, that's literally when you ask me who I really want, do I see in the future, I would want to be like him, you know, somebody who's in control. Because like you said, right, I think that's the one thing lawyers have over everybody else, like the power. There is power because you understand. Now, when you understand, people can't screw you over. So, in fact, I'll tell you something funny. We were going for one of our friends' weddings, in fact, and all of us were going to Hyderabad together. This, you know, at the airport, this guy tells us that, oh, by the way, this plane is overbooked and you guys will have to be off-boarded because you didn't, you don't have boarding passes. So I was letting these guys talk. Then I realized, oh, hang on, I'm your lawyer. So I spoke to him for 5 minutes and I told him, all right, you are allowed to offboard us, but these are the regulations and these are the rules. You will need to give us this, you know, extra, blah, blah, blah. 5 minutes later, he goes like, ma'am, 1 second. Why don't you just wait? I'll talk to my manager. 10 minutes later, he comes. He's like, I'm arranging, you know, all of your boarding passes. Why don't you guys just stand there?
You did it. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's empowering for sure.
Yeah, but
so
I think there's a sense of responsibility, also a lot of responsibility for that matter. And I think you must have faced it during a lot of courses, right? During handling people's cases also. But what I really want to know, like, there's always been this question, and I was Googling about lawyers. The first question that comes up, are lawyers good people? You know, and I had a doubt, but I wanted to like ask you as a person from the other side, what do you actually think?
So my politically correct answer would be that, you know, people are people, good or bad. It's in every profession. But yeah, I get what you were saying. So I've been on the other side, right? And it's difficult to talk to lawyers because it's such a different world. You don't get it. Like, you don't know why they're charging you, what they're charging you, you know, and what exactly is included in those charges.
Right.
So good or bad, I don't know. But I think it's like so back in the day, to me, law should be a vocation. It's not really a profession, like medicine, right? I mean, anyone can be a doctor. You don't need to be extremely nice or extremely thoughtful or to have a very good bedside manner to be a doctor.
Right.
You can be. The same with lawyers, you know.
Right.
Unfortunately, though, I think in our country, we are just so many people that it might be difficult to find somebody who's a good fit, you know.
Yeah.
Good people, bad people, I don't know. But they are just normal people.
Well, like you said, it's vocational. I totally understand. You know, it is a study in the end of it because you do put a lot of aggressive time to it. Understanding the acts, which are multiple acts. I've seen in courts, like, they have these big books, reading it out, which is, of course, really fascinating. But, I think it's also very important how you might have to show so much empathy from both ends. Like, let's say, you have to empathize with your client and the client also needs to empathize with you because that plays a key role too. So what do you think about that?
I think that is a problem in our profession because I think lawyers don't know how to empathize with clients. They've never been a client. You know, by the time they're like 21, 22, they've already joined these law firms or been lawyers. Yeah. So they don't understand the client's issues and problems. So, yeah, I think in law, that's a definite, there's a mismatch. There is no communication between a client and a lawyer. A lawyer does a lot of work in the back end. And I also didn't know how much work, would go in the back end. Now I do. But at the same time, I still understand that, a client gets hyper. They don't understand. For me, it's a daily thing. I do it every day. You come for me, you come for a stay order. A client will want to understand it 10 times, maybe 20 times. But what does it include? What does it have? How will I get it? Sure. I know that it's not that difficult for me to get it, but for me to explain to him sometimes becomes much more time consuming, because they don't understand.
Well,
but I feel that is the one thing I do feel, that you should take the time out to explain the problem to your client, which is the reason, in fact, I started my YouTube channel. Because, so going back to your question, are lawyers good people or bad people? I don't think they're either. I just think they don't have the patience to explain things to their clients because they do it on a daily basis.
Well,
So, in fact, my clients have told me.
Correct. But I think patience is something. It's a part of your field and the client situation, because I think they're coming to you at a point that's so vulnerable. They're in a lot of doubt. They're in a lot of fear. Not just because they have constant things going on, whether they will be protected, whether things will happen in any aspect for that matter. So what is so special about your company? Because I know you bootstrapped it. I know you've really, it takes a lot to create your own firm, So could you just give me more insight that how is it different from the big firms that we're talking about? And what's the change that you're trying to bring about?
Okay, so I won't compare myself to any other firm, big, small, tiny. I think that doesn't matter. To me, it's so again, it brings me back to the earlier thing, like you said, passion, right? I love what I do. And to me, it's not my case on the line. It's not you as a client that's on the line. It's me, my education, my understanding, and my reputation.
Right.
That is on the line.
Right.
So for me, I take everything very personally, because I actually don't know how to do it otherwise. But I have to say my partner is the same way. So I was very lucky and I found a partner who I think we both have very similar wavelengths, when it comes to this. We don't chase money. I think that's the difference. We chase perfection. So we want it to be so well done and I think that's the difference, right? We are not just hungry, but we're passionate. We both love what we do. The reason we don't want to work for other people is because we want to be able to take the kind of matters that, matter to us. So, yeah. I think that's
is it also in your field that you're just trying to prove something? Because you have this fight to to win the case, to make it happen. I've seen you doing that. So is there a adrenaline rush that I need that case, I'm gonna crack that case, I'm gonna win that case. So that constant zeal, which is in your blood, that's rushing. So does it happen with you as well on daily basis?
Yeah, so because in fact that's it, right? It's better. So I mean, okay, everybody enjoys their drinks once in a while, right? And it's fine. Absolutely. I like it too. But the high that you get when you win a case, there is nothing comparable in the world.
Yeah, it's liberation.
Because everybody likes knowing they're right. But when a judge tells you that, bro, you are right, it's a different feeling altogether because your work, your preparation, all of it pays off, right?
Right. So, but that feeling is commendable. It's like me getting a client, that one client that you really want to work for. You feel that liberation, you feel that love and that fun part to do it. But I want to talk about, small subjects, which as a layman, as a consumer, where we are not aware of, especially coming to the digital and the social media space that we all live in. Mm-hmm. We are naked in a way into our context. I believe like what we are talking right now, if I say something which is against someone, I might get a notice tomorrow too, right? So we're in a space where data protection, plagiarism, copyright, fake news, which is disgusting, which goes on. Everybody has a right to say something in any context. So in your company, you mentioned that you do look at a lot of data privacy clients and you helped a lot. We'll come to a certain case with me as well. But how is it different?
Okay, I would say the first thing is, okay, so the problem is we don't realize, and I know I can go on about this, but to me, that's the reason. See, to me, law is interesting, right? Because we don't realize how it affects each of us every day. You are into social media. You didn't even know that if you've written or drawn something, you don't need to go to a lawyer and say, please copyright it for me. It is already a copyright. The fact that you've created something and put it out there. If you can prove that there is nothing else like that there before, because, and we all know that's difficult. Like, look at fashion, look at styling. It's difficult to prove. Absolutely. But if you can, I can take your picture and I can make something amazing of mine on it. So it kind of becomes like, my picture. Now, if I've taken yours on license, what I've done with that becomes mine. Tomorrow, you can't say this is my picture too. I have a license. No, because I have actually created something extra on it. And therefore, I automatically have the copyright. again, most lawyers don't want to tell clients this because they're like, oh, but client will come, it'll be extra money, let them copyright. I think is our forte, because I don't believe in misleading people. I believe, like I said, to me, empowerment it is the most important thing. So I can't help people empower themselves if I'm not explaining the matter to them. So we like to explain matters to people so that they understand why we're doing what it is we are doing. Like even with you, if you recall, like I sat down and I took the time to explain what can happen, what should happen, and what will happen.
That's true. I think we need to confess that, since the topic is all about confession. So I think we'll tell everyone about it. There was a time, of course, in an advertising agency, it's very normal that we work with content on daily basis, posting creatives, taking creatives from Pinterest and all. But we of course know what we will post. I think Sanam, I got in touch with Sanam one fine day where I got noticed from a multinational company where I was handling a part of their marketing, which is purely solely by bloggers and influencers. And the notice was simple, that I, as a company, cannot take credit or cannot talk about it, which I was kind of taken aback, where you're servicing a company. And I think, Sanam, with the help of your team and you and the fast process, because we're a company, we're a startup. Startup for 8 years. You can't compete with a company which is a Fortune 500. They have tons of lawyers. But the rescue moment was that one email, and those wording. And I think that wording was pure honesty. I think you took up facts from the book and you just wrote it out to them, and there was no reply. So it gave me a sense of encouragement, positivity, and also this kind of sense of security that I do need someone.
Yeah.
And I think I'm one of million startup entrepreneur founders, creative people who really need you and people like you as a back shadow in our industry, right? So I think that is
I agree, actually, in fact. So to me, that is a problem, right? Unfortunately, most people, but you're right as well, because it's difficult to find lawyers whose only interest is to take the case forward and not to make money from the case, right? I suppose. But then you can say the same about the doctors as well today. Absolutely. It's unfortunate. So that's the state of affairs. But if you find a good lawyer and they help you understand, it's important, because even with you, when you were worried and you were scared, I remember telling you that time also that, look, people send notices thinking, especially MNCs send notices knowing that they have a lawyer on their books. They believe that, they can browbeat you into following whatever they want to say, which may not all be right. See, law is completely gray. There is nothing black and white about the law. It's how well you can see, it's how well you connect the dots, actually. That's about it.
True.
So in your case also, I remember telling you that, look, so, okay, basically though, there is a difference in content when you create it for a company and it's for someone, a contract for employment and a contract of employment. In one of them, you own content, in the other person does.
True.
So your clauses are important, because your clauses kind of set out your agreement. What exactly are you going to be governed by?
That's true.
In your case, when I told you that you actually owned the copyright of your material, of your creative work. Now, if you own your own copyright, let's think this through, right? Because I want people to be logical about this. Let's not get scared every time you get a notice. Let's think. All right, I created this. Let me look at my contract. What does it say? Who does this belong to? The creative. Not how they're using it, but just the actual graphic work. In your case, it belongs to you. You own the IP. Therefore, if you own the IP, there is nothing anyone can restrain you from talking about the IP. It's your right.
And that was a sense of relief, So yeah.
But in that case, I was very pissed, actually. I told you then also that we should go against them, because what they did to me was, according to me, what they did was wrong. That is a company that prides itself on protecting IP, and yet here they are helping another person steal your IP.
Absolutely.
It's the hypocrisy is just mind-boggling.
The context of communication, the context of how industries work, the bureaucracy inside it, and that's the challenging part. I think you also, and this is what I feel with so many startups, Sanam. Over the years, I've worked with almost 75, 80, helped incubating brands, smaller, with all passion, with all love and heart. I have friends who are starting yoga business, who are starting, today there's a dear designer who shifted towards to launch something which is into food. And I know you work very closely with food FMCG people. It is sad state of affairs that we are losing restaurants. But
Correct.
two questions I want to ask you. What is your advice on the startup world and the entrepreneurs? I feel they need to be linked with people like you a lot in their long-term journey.
Yes.
That's one question which I want you to throw some light on that. Second, your reason in the FMCG, your protection of restaurants in the FMCG, post-COVID and pre-COVID. So yeah, take it over.
Okay, so which one do you want me to tackle first? Because these are both kind of.
I'm a pure lover of startups. Yeah.
Okay, so startups, they need lawyers. They need not just lawyers, but it's like I believe in partnerships. So, for example, like you said, how could our firm become what it is today? It's not just hard work. It's recognizing, other people's achievements and partnering with them for that specific achievement.
True.
For example, right? So even we've done that. We've partnered up with with startups by saying, okay, I know you don't have the money, but hopefully let's be like real partners in this, right? I will do your legal thing. Hopefully you will become huge in the next 5 years and you will take me with you. So I believe that, you need more people like this on both sides. The second thing, see, the problem is that a lot of lawyers are lawyers. They don't, things don't translate in that sense, right? I mean, if I've not done anything but law in my whole life, it's difficult for me to understand what you as a startup are going through.
True.
For me, it's different because I am a startup and I have been a business entrepreneur for my entire life, right? I am a lawyer second. I'm a business person first. So I think I understand that. But yes, today I advise my brother, my parents, for example, and I tell them also that, if it wasn't me, we need another lawyer. So basically, so why are these MNCs, why do they all have lawyers on board? They're doing something right, because all said and done, your contracts, all of your contracts are different. You need somebody to tell you what exactly it says in just a layman's language. That's it. Right. What does it say? You have 10 clauses. Okay, be careful of this, be careful of this, be careful of this, and the rest is fine.
Exactly. Yeah,
you need to be aware.
That's true.
Most people are not, so even tenders. So let's take an example when, people get excited, they get government tenders, they get it. They may not have a lawyer on board, so they don't realize the amount of obligations that they have set, okay to by signing that tender, by bidding on that, for example. Absolutely. So you may not, and that's how the government gets you and how other people get you, right? You make a mistake and that's what they say, all right, I will not pay because, all right, you breached your contract, therefore, so and so.
Right.
So yeah,
fair enough. So
a lawyer is very evil.
No. I think that is so true. It is factual. But it's also hard to approach a lawyer. I think when I say the word approach, there are tons of lawyers. We have referrals. And I think you are in an industry which is referral. But how do you and your company are so different in terms of marketing, approach? How can, of course, there'll be a lot of people who would be curious enough who Sanam is. So how do they approach you?
I have to say, touch wood, I think we've been very lucky. We started, so you don't know this actually either, but so by the way, I never thought I'll make my own firm. That was never my goal. My goal has always been just to be the best at whatever it is I do. That to me has been very important, something my grandfather literally imbibed in me when I was a child, that be the best at whatever it is you're doing. So my goal was only ever that. However, I don't even know how to say this actually, because to be the best means what? It's easy to say that. It's difficult to do because you have to put in that time, that energy, like you said, that passion. If I don't like what I do, I'm not going to be able to put that energy in. I love what I do. I want to know everything, I need to know what is going to happen. So when it comes to, for example, startups or my brother, whoever, when I read a document, I read it with a different way because I know how this document is being read in court.
Right.
You understand? That's a big difference already. So
That's
sometimes
true.
when
That's
clients
true.
come to me and talk to me, so yeah, approach. I don't think I've ever really been so anyway, it's all just happened. It's just been by God's grace. It's just been a very holistic journey. We didn't want to start a firm. It happened.
Right.
We had 0 clients. We got 1 client who was my dad's friend who had some problem in real estate. He had taken something, and however, that was not delivered to him. He liked our idea or our strategy so much. He introduced us to that RWA or whoever the people running it.
The
They
community.
were,
Yep.
yeah, there were 80 of them. So within like a week, we suddenly had 80 new clients. We started working with them, and via. So, we've not really done any marketing either.
Correct.
But I think we've been lucky enough that we've done our cases with such heart. I think that, it's paid back in kind. I have to say.
That's true. And it's so amazing for you to say that one tickle point, that one tickle moment, because I think even you're an entrepreneur by heart because you've gone through a lot of journeys. Same with me. Even with my, stint with CMF, it was all about solving someone's problem and finding a solution.
Correct.
Right? I think that's
Exactly the
tipping
same.
point. And a lot of people have asked me, how come you started this? Why have you started? You could have got a job, which is, I think I won't say job is the easy way out. I think we all just need to find that point in our life that can I add value to someone, period. Either for my product, either for my service, either for my client. I think you persevered, you reached that goal of yours, and this is where you are.
Correct.
And you've got a beautiful story to share. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and for me, the one thing I love doing is I like educating people in the sense, and I don't mean to sound this in like, obnoxious way at all. Because education to me, it's not something that I just learned from books, right? We were discussing this.
Practicality.
And I've been lucky. Yeah, in fact, a senior counsel spoke to me about a month ago, and he is one of my favorites, by the way. He is the best criminal lawyer, according to me, in India right now. But I remember he told me that, look, I learned even from my juniors. Now, if a man of his caliber, of his stature is saying something like that, who am I not to learn from everything and every person, right? So you learn from your file, you learn from your clients, you learn from court, you learn from your own life. And like you said, empathy, to me, empathy is important. The same way, when you talk about doctors and how they got out from the wrong side of the bed, I think people don't. Yeah, so, lawyers, there are many of these lawyers with the golden tongue, but they may not be the lawyer you need. However, I think there needs to be some sort of, empathy at least that you can have with your client. Because if you can feel what they're going through, I think that's most important. And I think that is, again, something my partner and I have in common.
Right.
We try to have empathy
Yeah,
for
I
the
think
person
that's-
across the table.
Hence, you are in this business, you've survived, you've persevered, and this is where you are. I think the core role and the core objective is, of course, your information and that drive, but I think it's the empathy, the comfort level that people kind of make with you, and it's with every entrepreneur. Some of since we know we have this thing at Reflect to know how you are reflecting, and our cap minute is 45 minutes. So 2 questions quickly. I know your parents have really supported you, and you really talk about them when we talk, right? And they've been the core of your journey, in agreeing to a path like this, knowing for the fact where you're entering. So that's one beautiful thing that I wanted to share some light on. And lastly, how are you reflecting, and how are you reflecting before and now?
So my parents actually have been my biggest support always. My father more so once I stopped working with him. But no, I mean, he did. I mean, that's being a little too, vague. No, he did support me then. But actually, I was nervous about starting my own.
The Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Good
That time,
enough.
It'll come back.
Right.
But you see, this is the proof I'm going to give to that guy that, look, this happened just last night. You can see the Wi-Fi. Everyone could see it.
Oops, there is a little lag. Okay, so
It'll come back.
okay, I think since we live in a space where internet is a big problem,
Proof.
especially in our country.
No bigger
Yeah,
proof.
bad network. I know, Anuj Bhaiya. Let me just add Sanam quickly.
Finally, I went on 3G. I couldn't figure out how to do this from my laptop, so I did it from my phone.
We're gonna get Sanam back.
Yeah, sorry. That might be my Wi-Fi.
We were
I have
talking
issues
about
with
Wi-Fi yesterday.
Wi-Fi.
Because I was telling him the whole day.
You
yesterday.
know that. You know, I have issues with all electronic things. It's not even funny. I laugh about it, but it's really not funny.
It's okay.
So anyway,
It's all
before we
good.
network again, my reflect. So yeah, I was talking about my parents and being the. I didn't want to join. I didn't want to start my own firm. I was too nervous, too scared, too like whatever. My dad actually told me, he was like, Sanam, you run a tannery. Please, you know, you can, if you run a tannery, you can do this. It's not a big problem. Just do it. Have faith in yourself and do it. And I still think about that day because without him, I would not have my own company. Without my mom, I wouldn't even be here today. So, you know, my
Beautiful.
parents are definitely the biggest support.
Nice.
But reflections to me, it's about, we were talking about this last time also, and this is my favorite topic. It's about the power of positivity.
Yep.
It's about mindfulness. It's about knowing your mind. All of our pain, slow, sad, whatever.
Bad network again.
Bad network again. Now you know my problem though, right? I wasn't worried when you said I hate my Wi-Fi.
It's absolutely fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. We'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll close it off this one thing. Sanam, how are you reflecting? How have you reflected post-COVID, pre-COVID, and what's the plan for future?
I think COVID was, I'm not going to say it was a good thing or a bad thing. It's a thing. You know, it's a circumstance. It's something that happened.
Yeah.
It's how you take it, which leads me back to the power of positivity. If
Yeah.
I had thought during COVID time that, you know what, I'm a normal young lawyer, I don't have work, I would have died it with depression, literally. Because there is no work for lawyers. You know, only urgent listings are happening. So yeah, that's a problem. But I decided instead that look, it's an opportunity. Everything in life to me is an opportunity.
Everything
It's
is
something to
opportunity.
look.
Yeah.
So I made my own YouTube channel, The Brief. I am coming
That's
up
so-
with,
yes.
you know, my legal news app. It's gonna be a legal news aggregator, which so far doesn't exist in India.
Fantastic.
Although you have so many legal news websites. And I'm coming up with a legal tech software. I've got a couple of partners in Europe right now. We're working on something super cool that I can't unfortunately talk about. We've signed an NDA, all of us. But yeah, so when you say how has it been, I think touch wood and thanks God, it's been amazing for me. Not in
Right.
terms of making money, sure. I may not have made any money,
That's fine.
but I had so many ideas. You know, I've had. So the name of the YouTube channel is The Brief, because you know how lawyers brief you. To me, that's again something new that started because of COVID. The name of my news app is also The Brief, which is because of COVID. So yeah, I think the reflection that I would like to leave everyone here with is to remember that we all have the power to change ourselves, our body, and our future, our lives, our destiny. You know,
So true.
it just depends on what you can imagine. That's it.
True.
You limit yourself by limiting your imagination.
That is so true.
If I can be a lawyer today after,
I'm
you
so
know,
proud,
having
Sanam.
worked in a tannery.
You know, this was one of the subject where I was little hesitant, thinking, what will I talk? Because I am scared of lawyers. Period. The minute I hear the word lawyers, but you know, after meeting you, after the abundance of information you have, and one thing what I really appreciate is that you think beyond the term law or beyond the term lawyer. You know, you are adding value, and like you said, there's an opportunity wing everywhere. You know, without all of that, I just want to thank you for taking out time, and
Thank you.
and good luck, and you know, of course, I'm going to meet you on the other side. You know, calling you up to help me out. But it's been a beautiful journey, Sanam, and I think you've really persevered and reflected. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
yeah,
so
and
much. No, I enjoyed your. I love the idea. I think reflection is
Thank
so important, especially in coronavirus times. And
Yes.
I just hope you keep on sending those positive vibes. You know, let people know that you know what, it's a phase, it'll pass. Just
Oh, yeah,
your
yeah,
mind,
yeah.
just train your mind to be positive, to think about
Absolutely.
where you can see if you can be happy. The world will try to make you happy. That's it.
I think you need to tell everyone the water story, and I want you to see you more active on Instagram, sharing stories about your water story. I think that is a remarkable.
Yeah, I've
answer.
actually always wanted to be I've always wanted to be an inspirational speaker, because I believe most people are limiting themselves. You know, in fact, my partner and I have issues sometimes, because he'll tell me we can't.
Sure.
I said,
Sure.
don't tell me those words. I can't hear can't. Don't,
Yeah.
won't. These are not words for me to hear, you know.
So true, so true, so
Sorry,
true.
my dog, who's paralyzed, is stuck in the wire, in case you guys want to see. He's a paralyzed little puppy. But look at his perseverance, guys. He doesn't care that he's paralyzed, all right? He can't
He is.
walk, so he glides.
But anyways, thank you so much, Sana. And
Thank you so much.
All right, and good
I
luck
will, for sure.
at the brief.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you
Bye.
guys for joining us. Bye.
Jolu.
I don't know how to cut this.
Oops. Well, it was one of the most interesting episodes, because the subject was something which is really deep, interesting, and something that we really don't talk about. It is something which is away from my industry, so I had to put a lot of thought to it. But as Sanam said about the word opportunity is everywhere, and I think there's something to really reflect back and think on that subject. I think we all are looking for some way to improvise and find solutions to help and guide people. I think that's where it all starts. I'm sure we all are entrepreneurs in ourselves. But yeah, I think it's all about moving forward and thinking ahead. And again, thank you so much all for tuning in Thursday. It's 10 p.m. as usual, and I will be bringing in another one who is reflecting, who is re-engaging. Thank you again. I hope to see you all soon. Ciao.
Ciao. Dolly, ciao.
Hello, ciao.
Dolly, ciao. Dolly, ciao, ciao, ciao. Dolly, ciao, 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 ciao.
Sorry, it's a little bad connection. Just waiting for more people to join again. So Sanam has joined, and I shall be introducing her.